This is the first one. So I'm just going to throw some things at you, 12 rules, 12 ideas, and see what sticks. um, there'll be something in this for everyone. From if you're doing a physical challenge, say an ultramarathon or an Ironman, to, I don't know, studying for a degree, doing that difficult course, starting a family, anything. But the point is, for me, with this, is that you're difficulty is part of life. You've voluntarily chosen a career that will be challenging if you choose to meet the challenge, right? And as well as the intersection of your career with your relationships, with your private life, it's not as smooth as, say, being a civilian, is it? So you've voluntarily chosen a career that's going to be challenging. It's going to be difficult. You will choose to take on more hard things. You'll study for that degree, you'll get that puppy, you'll renovate your house, you'll choose to ask that person to marry you all on the same day, right? And I'm all for that. We need challenging things. We need stuff to rub against to grow, I say. And third, life will life you. Life will present difficult, hard things. The unwelcome, the unexpected will come. And it's always a case, not if, but when. So really the question that I want to answer in this is, how do I learn to survive difficult times with a bit of style, with remembering what brings me joy, with a smile on my face? It is possible, absolutely possible. But it does require different thinking from so many other people. So I'm going to throw you a bunch of ideas, a bunch of rules I've put here, if you like, so you can start thinking differently. The next session, I want to be a lot more practical. All right. But let me know how this one goes. I think out there in the world, civilian, military in general, we have this idea that stress is part of the price we pay for doing business, for being in the game. I have a brother who's a high-level banker, and we were just having a friendly conversation, but he was saying, I get paid to be stressed. And I said, no, you don't. You don't get paid to be stressed. You get paid to be responsible. There's a world of difference. So when we're talking about stress, I'm saying you've gone too far. Exhaustion, overload, burnout, even a low-level frantic anxiety is too much. And that there's a beautiful bell curve, that upside down U. There's a sweet spot right at the top where you're in the prime place in terms of your emotional arousal, so to speak. You're the right amount of engaged. Because before that, you're bored, you're disengaged, you're not interested. And after that, you're stressed, you're exhausted, you're anxious, you're blowing up, right? So, but first of all, what if stress wasn't useful? What if it wasn't the price you pay? Yeah. So it's all based on this. Oh, here he is. It's all based on this Buddhist saying that in life, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. And when you really get this, you may not understand this consciously, but there's certain habits, certain ways of thinking that mean we choose to suffer. Now, I know you don't see it like that, and you haven't been shown explicitly, this is how you avoid suffering, this is how you make it optional. But that's what I want to do tonight. Okay. This is not just for you. They're watching you. No pressure. But you're a leader. You're a parent. You're a coach. You're a mentor. You're a teammate. You're the guy, the girl there. But they're watching how you do things. And at the moment, it's become normal that panic attacks, anxiety, mental health, depression, all of these things have become normal. I mean, isn't that crazy? By taking on this journey, by tackling how you can change your relationship with hard things, you're also doing it for them. You're giving them a message that everybody else may be going down the toilet, but hey, there's a different way. Yeah? You can change. You can show them that what our culture says about burnout and overwhelm and stress, that it's not a badge of honor. It's not normal. You can do it differently. Okay. So it's not just for you. Now, in the doing of this, I wanted to outline the steps, the ideas, the rules, so that you can make suffering optional. It's practice. As the ancient Greek, I won't try and pronounce his name, Archilochus, Archie, good name. But he once said, we don't rise to the occasion, we fall to the level of our training. And you guys know that more than most. When you're put in a squeezy situation, you fall to the level of what you've practiced. And so these are some things that you can practice, different ideas, different things you can actually do, different ways you can start thinking. But I'm going to throw a bunch of things at you, but try getting stuck into one or two of these things. We'll go into more depth on some of these ones later on. Okay. So as I said, this will be for, I'm trying to a broad umbrella of if you've chosen the challenge, so you've signed up for that ultra marathon, you've signed up to start a family, to balance that career with that difficult career course or studying for a degree, whether the challenge is chosen or it's thrust upon you, obviously there's going to be some differences. I want this to apply to anyone. Okay, cool. Let's get started. I can't see you, so I'm just going to assume that all is well. But rule number one really is, hey, it is hard. It will be hard. You will be tested. You will be confused. You will want to quit, and that's okay. It's your willingness to navigate these hard times, these inner hard places, that makes you such a great human. That's why you're here on a cold Thursday night instead of cuddled up on the couch watching TV. You want to get better at this. But when you embrace this idea that, hey, that's okay, that's why I'm here, that kind of acceptance means you're not wanting it to be different. And by not wanting to be different, you take such a load off. You're not resisting the reality of the hard. You're like, it's hard. It's challenging. I'm struggling a little bit. Yeah? It makes a world of difference than pretending everything's fine or looking around and go, well, everybody else, I should be. So some things that can help. You could say to yourself, good, this is exactly why I came. I want to do this. I get to do this. You can think, bring it on. You could say, bring it on. A little bit of fight helps. Because when the frustration kicks in, when the overwhelm, I can't do this, it's like, no, I'm going to rise to the challenge. I may not know how, but I'm going to give it a shot. Okay? Now, another good saying is just standing back and going, how can I make this easier? How can I make this easier? Because the chances are you're focusing on the hard, difficult, the bits you can't do, but you're not seeing the bits you can do, the forward motion. How can I make this easy? Maybe it is just changing your attitude and going, you know what? I've chosen to do this, or it's been thrust upon me. I have to go through this. Let's do it. Something else that's quite nice to remind yourself of is that this too will pass. Especially if this is the kind of hard that's being put upon you, it's like, it will change, because it will change. You will feel differently about it. The events, the circumstances, the people will change at some stage. Yeah. So experiment with what works for you. Part of challenging is that means that you run the risk of messing up, of making a mistake. No one likes to make mistakes. Unfortunately, I think success is a very poor teacher. And what I mean by that is that without experiencing a little bit of failure, you don't realize the direction you need to go. So that's part of the risk of hard things, that you might embarrass yourself. You might, now obviously you want to embarrass yourself in a safer arena as possible. For example, you want to have that crash in the car park, not on the M1, right? But you can come to terms with the idea that necessarily falling short is part of learning. Maybe we can go into that in more detail. It will be challenging. Remember your why. Why are you doing this? Why have you voluntarily chosen to do this? And what are your values? What are the highest expression of you? What's most important for you to be? Now, if you don't know your values, and we can guide you through this too, is Google values list, and it will bring you up about 200, and just select the 5, pare it all down to what feels right. But remind yourself of why and who you want to be. So often we write a to-do list, but what I suggest people do is to write a to-be list. Who do I want and need to be today? Now, Nietzsche, who's an old German philosopher, this is very important because he said, he who has a why can bear almost any how. Viktor Frankl, who was a psychotherapist in the Nazi concentration camps, he saw this too, and he saw the people with meaning, with a purpose, stayed alive. People who lost their purpose did not. He also said, don't wait for a why or a meaning to be given to you by life. Choose it yourself. You must choose it, because then what happens is purpose, a why, gives you perspective. It means everything becomes focused on this one reason. I want to give you an example. In your job, for example, you might be doing it. Are you doing it for money? Are you doing it to support your family or yourself? I had a friend who his sole reason for working was fun tickets, he called them. So he could go skiing and kayaking, and he didn't care about his career. They were just a reason, an output. Now, why are you doing your career? What is the highest reason? What is the value that you want to get out of that? What is the value that you want to give? What is the service? Maybe there's something that you've just forgotten. Maybe it's not there anymore, you see? But it's not just a job. It's not just a relationship. It's not just a hobby. It gives you a why to live for, so you can express that. And if you're not able to express that, that's a different conversation. That's a different question. But when you have a why, when you have a reason, everything becomes in service to that, the smooth and the tough. So keep that in the forefront of your mind. Why am I doing this? Who do I want to be? What do I value? And that perspective will help enormously. Okay. Cool. Now, I've become fascinated by ultra running in the last 3 years. Mad sport. But do you know how they run 200 miles? Do you know how they run for 2-3 days straight? And this is not me, by the way. But you do that kind of thing one step at a time. One step at a time. Lao Tzu, who was a famous Chinese philosopher ages ago, said, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. But that journey is fulfilled by single steps with a similar destination in mind. Single steps. Because when we get overwhelmed, it is a gap. It is a future thought. We are at the finished product or the finish line, and that makes either being where you are very, very hard, or the idea of climbing up to the top of this mountain where I think I have to be. I can't do that. It's too far. But you can certainly take another step. One of the longest races, I only got into trouble when I was expecting an aid station. Unfortunately, it was 3 miles out, but I was expecting it right now, round the corner. And it took me a little while to work out what was going on, but I was suffering. I was like, where is this aid station? It should be here by now. The stupid guys, what have they done? And when I realized I was in the aid station in my head and I had left my feet and I returned, it got a lot easier. Even with the sore muscles and the blisters, it was so much easier than wanting to be somewhere else. So have a plan, have a goal, but chunk it down into small bits. What can I do now? What can I do right now? And the most amazing thing is you don't even need to have a goal. And something like grief, where you're just swamped and you don't know what to do and what way's up. Martin Luther King once said, just take the next step, even when you can't see the top of the staircase. Take the next step. And when something like grief, it's just like, I can't do this. It's too much. There's too much feeling, too much to organize, too much. One step at a time, one step at a time. You can do that. You can do now. And as John Lennon, I've got a lot of quotes here today, haven't I? John Lennon once said is that life is what happens when we're busy making other plans. And we're very good at the past, analyzing, regretting. We're very good at the future, predicting, planning, guessing. But life is now. Life is now. You can only do anything about this moment here. And in terms of controlling the controllables, which we'll get onto, this is the only controllable there is. You can plan and predict a few down the line, but this is the moment. At some point, you're going to realize that exhaustion and overwhelm isn't so much about the physical demands, but trying to hold it all in your head. You can only do one thing at a time, but you get exhausted when you hold the vastness of your to-do list in your head. I cannot do this. Get it on paper, do one thing at a time. For example, what's worse? Doing something that scares you, that you're nervous about the outcome, or the thinking about it? The thinking about it is so much worse, am I right? By the time it comes to the event or the difficult conversation or the jump, you're like, just let this suffering be over. Let me get on with it. And 95% of the time, it doesn't happen the way you fear it will anyway, the way you overthink it. So one thing at a time. In terms of training for this, do the easy things as mindfully as you can. Then you have a chance of doing the hard the same. Okay, one thing at a time, step by step. Make a plan, but this is the step, the next step, the next step. Do it while you're making dinner, while you're brushing your teeth, while you're having that conversation. Listen presently. Engage in the small, easy stuff. Be really as present as possible. That's when you're testing yourself or you're being tested, that's where the training comes in. Devote yourself to the moment you're in. Cool. Look after your energy. When your energy is low, everything seems hard. The fuse is short, or everything just seems hopeless and doomed and you're useless. So what's the point? Why am I doing this anyway? You forget your perspective. You forget your why. You have to realize you're a human being, not a human doing. And your doing relies on a certain battery of being. It's not a nice to have, it's a need to have. You can't look after anybody else or do things to the height of your ability if you don't have energy. It's not selfish, but you do have to protect and prioritize it. So rest and recovery, any good trainer, any good coach will say, yes, you stress and then you rest and recover. And that equals growth. You stress, you rest and recover, then there's growth. But again, in our culture, we think work, especially, is done in a straight line. Just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And if you do keep going, as some of you know, you'll crash and burn out. You need to factor in that rest and recovery, your energy. Very important. Rest and recovery is not a reward for hard work. It is a requirement. Okay? And so in terms of that, 4.1, what will you do? What's your plan? What's your non-negotiable? This is my process schedule. This is what I do to recover and recharge. Every single day. We're talking physically, mentally, emotionally. What do you do to give to yourself so you can come back again tomorrow? And there's no right way, there's no wrong way, that's just your way. But really, there is one caveat to that, and I'll get to it in a minute. But what helps? What hinders? What nourishes you? What distracts and drains you? The harder the situation you're facing, the more focused you're going to have to be. Otherwise, you'll be like a leaky tap. So know what helps you, know what hinders you. But what I'm talking about in this non-negotiable plan, I'm saying at least 30 minutes of time and space of your choosing where it is just you, free of the demands of the outside world. So what I mean is, a friend of mine, her time is sauna time. And she's picked the sauna because she's attached to her phone and she knows she cannot take the phone into the sauna. So it's an easy win. She just goes in the sauna. No one wants to really chat. She just chills out. Well, gets hot, but it's her time, her space. There's some other examples. I mean, sauna, hot water, cold water, baths, going swimming in the local lake. All of these things are great. Physical movement, whether just a gentle walk with your dog or going for a run or going to the gym. Hobbies, renovation, DIY, painting your little models, a book, a good coffee, something good to eat, good people, an early night, an early morning. I don't know if you're a morning person, you know the beauty when you wake up and you have 30 minutes. No one's moving, no one's talking to you. You have 30 minutes just to drink your coffee. Don't pollute that with the world static by picking up your phone. Give that time to yourself. It's essential. Screens and another beer, they don't do it. Unfortunately, they created just a different kind of brainwave for deep recovery. So make sure you get this non-negotiable. So have a plan, have an idea that you can just follow, that you can just do, that this time I do this. Plan for your worst day so that it doesn't take any willpower. You just put your shoes on and go. You just throw your phone away and stare out the window. You just go down and sit in the gym, in the sauna, whatever it might be. Don't get in the trap of, oh, I'm in a good space, so I don't need to. Now, in the next session, I want to go into more of these, but we've been talking about daily things, at least 30 minutes of space just for you. But we can talk about weekly things, monthly things, quarterly, 6 months, yearly things that you can jump in. Small grains of sand leading up to big rocks that really fill your battery, and physically, mentally, emotionally, but spiritually, so you come back with a full soul going, yes, I'm good to go. Non-negotiable, very important. Thoughts aren't facts. Thoughts are not facts. They are always optional. And you have to expect when things are hard, when you're exhausted, the thoughts in your head will be brutal. Doing difficult things and tiredness, exhaustion means negative voices. But if you're going to go hard, if you're going to go and do hard things, you've got to expect to go hard places. So it's not you. Expect it, anticipate it. It's what happens when you push the boat out. Okay. Now, a good retort to whatever this negative voice says could be maybe. Maybe is a great retort because you're not denying, you're not justifying, you're not getting in a fight with your own mind. You're just shrugging your shoulders, going, maybe. We'll see. There's no argument there. But maybe you want to plan something. Maybe there's that word. What would you want? A trusted advisor who was there on your shoulder at the very moment and could hear your thoughts. What would you want them to tell you, to remind you of, if you had your coach or a good friend? What would you say to a good friend? Maybe have that ready to go. So when times get tough, what would you want to remind yourself of? So you're not scrambling around in the dark and the negativity, trying to find it, but just like, I know what to say. Maybe it's just maybe. Maybe it's just stay where your feet are. Keep going. This too will change. See what works for you. Especially when mistakes are involved, be as kind, as patient, as an understanding as you would to a good friend as well. Can you give that gift of kindness to yourself? We are our own worst critics, especially when times are tough. So give yourself the space of kindness, patience, understanding. It will pass. It will pass, especially when the energy comes back up. Now, what you can do is train with the friction, the irritations of general living. When you're going through the queue, the slow computer, the traffic, whatever the case may be, see if you can train that patient, mellow out, change your state. Don't listen to the voices that say, meh, 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 don't like this, the whine. You can train with the friction of everyday life. But very important, thoughts aren't facts, never facts. They're very much related to the energy. What are your tells? All right, so on the side of every road, well, every major road, there's the rumble strip. And it's perfectly designed so when you're on your mobile phone, you can tell that you're about to drive off into the ditch, right? Poker players have tells. You have warning signs far before you wreck yourself. And what are they? If you don't know them, ask your partner, ask your friend, say, hey, what happens when I get stressed? What happens when I'm heading off the metaphorical road into the ditch? What happens before I get there? And they'll say, well, you start drinking a lot more, or you start shopping a lot more, or you start gambling, or you're getting into box sets until 3 in the morning, you stop sleeping, you start doing, they will tell you, but be self-aware. Really, really tune in. What are your tells? Now, in the early days, a bit of emergency first aid, the acronym HALT, HALT. And that stands for, am I hungry, angry, lonely, lost, tired? That will give you your solution. HALT, hungry, what's your number one priority? Go eat. Because then you're on an even field, you're thinking, think clearly, things are back in perspective, you can go. Ultramarathons, again, they have a saying, low mood, eat food. Why not? Angry, what do you need to do? Do you need to have a difficult conversation? Do you need to just blow off some steam outside? Do you need to have a chat with somebody, a third party who has nothing to do with it? Lonely, lost, do you just need connection? Do you just need someone to listen to you? Do you need to listen to somebody else? Are you lost? Do you need guidance? Are you tired? Do you need to switch off and begin again in the morning? HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, lost, tired. They will give you a little bit of emergency first aid real quick. But you will only be aware of them if you have the self-awareness of, something's not right. What's going on? Stop, analyze. And often it's the basics, right? I need food, I need water, I need someone to talk to, I need clarity of direction. I need some sunlight. I've been stuck in this little room for far too long. I need to be out in nature. I need some green, nature green. It may not remove the reality of the situation. Excuse me. It may not remove the reality of the situation, but it will increase the flow of that particular river so you slide around the rocks easier. By denying yourself, you're crawling around the mud, and that's tough. What you focus on grows. Yikes, racing ahead, running out of time here. What you focus on grows. Your mind doesn't work on reality. It works on what you repeat to it. It doesn't work on reality. It works on what you tell it often. So it's very, very simple. That cliche of, is the glass full, or half empty? You know, that kind of thoughts, half full thoughts, half empty thoughts, filter what you see. Your focus grows. Now, the stressed brain, the untrained brain, has a negativity bias of 9 to 1. That means it's 9 times more likely to focus on what's wrong, what's missing, what you don't have. Right? So when you're thinking about it, when you're focusing on what's wrong, what's missing, those thoughts, that's what you're practicing to see. And that what becomes negative, downward spiraling, catastrophizing becomes your life. Now, I don't know anyone who doesn't have something in their life they don't want to change. But our biggest problem is we take big parts of our life for granted. We don't see how good our lives are, even when we've got a bad hand of cards dealt us. And the antidote, really, what you focus on grows, is to appreciate, to be grateful, to spend some time to stop, to recognize, to approve, to celebrate, to bring attention to. And do this not only in your own life, but for each other, for your partner, your kids, your colleagues, everywhere. Make it a practice. Make it a practice. Glass half full doesn't mean you're living in a dream world. It actually has been shown that you're much more creative. I mean, the stress level is so much lower, but so you become a lot more aware of the big picture. Of course, it's much more pleasant because you're not fizzing. You've got a longer fuses. You've got a different kind of love for life. So glass half full it. Very important. It puts it in perspective. Doesn't take it away. So be very careful of complaining, especially to those people who cannot do anything about it. And you can pressure release, let go of some steam, but be very careful of complaining. I mean, really, do this and then get back to me and see how useful gossip and complaining actually is. So break that habit. Break that habit. Take a deep breath. Yes. Let's take a deep breath. So just sit, breathe through your nose if you can. Nice deep breath in. And then take the longest exhale as you can, as slow as you can. 7, 8 seconds even, all the way out. Another one, breathe in. Long, slow exhale. All the way out. One more, breathe in. Long, slow exhale. Oh, how do you feel? Nice, eh? 3 quick breaths, and you've changed your state. You've relaxed, you've chilled out, you've taken it down a peg. You're a little bit slower. Always a good thing. Less haste, more speed. We can get so far in the future, we're running after the next thing. Slow down, one thing at a time. Manage your state. Breathe. It's those long exhales. In through the nose, out through the mouth, or nose, doesn't matter. But the 7, 8 second exhales, the body goes, oh, okay, he's still breathing out. She's still breathing out. I'm going to chill. Slow it down. What are you in control of and what are you not? Get really clear on the terms and conditions of what you're doing, the games that you're playing. And what I mean by games is your career, your relationships, your hobbies, everything has a set of rules, if you like. Now, you may not be aware of those rules until some other time, or those terms and conditions may change. But see clearly the cards that you're playing with. Don't wish they were different. Embrace the reality of that thing. As they say, control the controllables, but you really see what you can do and ignore what you can't do. If you cannot accept the rules, the terms of conditions of the game that you're playing, then maybe you need to do something else. In terms of this, be careful of caring too much. Recognize your own limits. You can support, you can guide, you can even do it for them, but it's exhausting. As the saying goes, be a lighthouse, not a tugboat. Shine bright. Don't run around doing everything for them. Do your best, of course, but don't knacker yourself. I see so many parents doing this, doing everything for their kids, and their kids are little blobs of jelly. They haven't done a thing in their life. They haven't risked anything because mom or dad will pick up after them. Be careful of caring too much. And hard things and challenges, beware of perfectionism. What is ideal and what is good enough? You'll have to be okay with compromise. And I know so many people who don't like this. because they want to do the very best, but that very best sometimes means you don't do anything. For example, when I was writing one of my books, I kept writing, I kept editing, I kept going, and I never gave it to anyone to read because it was not good enough yet. I had to be okay with, I don't know how people are going to receive this. You have to be okay with just letting it go at some stage. If you're going to be a perfectionist, you're going to be exhausted as well. You're going to be working all days. You will be your own biggest critic. What is the idea? What is good enough? Put it out, get some feedback, adjust. Another idea, progress, not perfection. Perfection is very binary, isn't it? It's right or wrong. It's more like, how can I keep growing? Right and wrong is a tough place to be because you may be right, but you'll be terrified of being wrong. You'll get static. You won't move for fear of getting it wrong. Okay. So, progress, not perfection. Say no more. And there's two parts to this. What is serving your mission? And there's an important internal judgment call of what is important to you along the lines of what do you value and what's your why? What is important to you and what is merely urgent? And what helps serve the important things in your life and what helps what distracts from that mission? Now, for some of you, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place because the military is, you want to give your best there, but the family, you want to give your best there. And it's kind of like, and maybe it comes with a bit of seniority. I'm not sure, but often you find older people who especially have burnt out and have come back, they're much more comfortable with saying no more. They realize that they will do their absolute best, but there comes a point they have to say, no, I need to protect what is truly important to me, my energy, etc. So there's two things. This internal, what is good for me? Have I been out 5 nights this week? Have I been gaming to 3 in the morning? Do I need to back that down to 3 nights a week? And do I need to say no to other people more? Are you saying yes to everyone? I'll do anything for you. What a great thing. But just be careful of your energy. When you're doing hard things, you need to boil it right down to what is essential and what is important to you. I hope that makes sense. Lift others up. And again, there's been studies all over the shop that have shown the happiest people, the healthiest people, the people that live the longest, and not just living, but fulfilled living, quality living, are those who are interested in helping somebody else. And there's a spectrum. It can range from just going out of your way to make someone else's day slightly easier, smiling, opening the door, grabbing them a coffee, patting them on the back. Or it can go to all the complete other way, to a big thing of creating a culture where lifting and growth and encouragement is the norm, is the soup in which you all swim, the pool that you swim. But how can I help somebody else helps you? This ideal of karma, what you give is what you get, is very real. It definitely, when you give to others, it helps you. Now, talking of that culture of growth, of inspiration, of uplift, my very first boss was that. You know, he once said, if you're going to ask people to do extraordinary things, you have to make them feel extraordinarily valued. And he was excellent at that. He was always telling us how much we were appreciated, what we were good at, how much value. But he also set the culture where it was one of mutual, let's fly. For certainly, gossip, complaining, those things were not acceptable. You never ate your sandwich before everybody else was there and sat down and ate all theirs. It was very much, we do this as a whole, everybody or nobody. And it was amazing because when he would say, hey, I want you to do that differently, I was falling over myself to do it because of that culture, that surrounding of, I see you, I recognize you, you're part of this, we're all part of this together, and we want to be exceptional. And it was just this small country outdoor club. But you can create that. You can create that. It just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of patience, a little bit of celebration, help, encouragement, and role model, really. Last one. I know I said 12, but here's 13. Don't rely on your own strength. You don't have to do it alone. You just have to ask. And that might be the hard thing and hard times. Don't try and go it alone. Even if you feel like you don't deserve it, help will come to you when you ask. But the ask is necessary. When you need a lift, a shoulder to cry on, some advice, get that help. People are so useful. Trying to do it alone is slow and tough. Also, there's such a thing as team flow. When you're all together, like I explained, 2 or more of you can really fly. If you have a mission, you can go. For example, I love running. I've gone on about it far too long tonight, but I can go by myself and have an incredible time. I can go with my friend and she will push me. We'll chase each other up these mountains and just have an exceptional time. We will lift each other up. So who can help you? Cool. 3 things, really. I'm all done. We'll get into questions. Sorry, I've been taking a bit longer. Look after your energy, practice self-awareness, exercise choice. Okay? Look after your battery, make sure it's topped up as best you can. Look, be mindful, be present. What's happening within me? What's brewing? How fast am I running? What's annoying me? What's my load at the moment? What are my incomings and outgoings? And that choice. Emotional regulation. Do I need to calm down? Do I need to be more brave? Manage your state of being. Choose a different attitude. You know, that all these take practice. And as I said, you can practice now with the small frictions of life. You know? We don't rise to the occasion, we fall back to the level of our training. Practice now with the stuff that you will encounter tonight, tomorrow. Be aware. See if you can change it. If you can't, change yourself. Cool. Remember, this is all about ending suffering. Don't yeah this. It's really easy to go, oh, you should drink more water. Oh, yeah. You should get more exercise. Oh, yeah. I should read more books. Oh, yeah. But you never do it. The stats say, come tomorrow, if you don't practice, 70% of what we've been said will be forgotten. By the end of the week, 90%, it will just be a memory. So really what I'm saying is, what will you practice? What will you take away and integrate? Our man, Viktor Frankl, in the Nazi concentration camps, he called this the last of the human freedoms, the greatest of the human freedoms. The thing that cannot be taken away from you is your ability to choose your own way, regardless of the circumstances. That is incredibly valuable. Life is not just what you do, but how you do it, your inner state. That determines your ability to turn hard things from a sufferfest into near pain. Didn't quite. But it's the greatest of human freedoms to choose your own way, to be free like that, to free yourself from the matrix. Incredible. What you do is important. How you do it and how you feel about it is essential. As Maya Angelou, a Black American writer, once said, people will always forget what you said. They will always forget what you did, but they will never forget the way you made them feel. And that for you is also an incredible amount of pride. Your inner state. So enough of me. Practice. Next session, a month from now, I want to be practical, give you some nuts and bolts things you can get down and practice. I've said 7, it'll probably be 8 or 9. But I just want you to give you the key ingredients, because I know time is short. And if I do this, this, and this, will I be in a good shape? Yes. The question is, what else do you want? And I think Daniel's going to send out some feedback forms and see what you want. But there we go. That's all from me tonight. Questions. Let me have them. I'm going to stop sharing now.